I got this comment yesterday, and I wanted to discuss that this morning. Keep the laws, statutes, and commandments of the Most High God. John chapter 14, verse 15, KJV. So this is my beliefs, by the way. So in Genesis, we learn that sin brings us shame. And shame is there's a belief that there is something defective or unworthy about me. But then we go to church and we meet God, and now we're convicted. And so we want to rid our life of sin. So that conviction brings the want. We want to live according to God's rules, his values, his standards, his statutes, and his commandments. So we regard sin as this jacket that we can take off and on when we are convicted. The removal of the sin doesn't address why you were sinning. So I stop and share about myself. So 3 years ago, as I came into relationship with God, I felt really convicted to abstain from premarital, except I sucked at it. So I'd be good for like 3 months, 6 months, and then I'd have and then I'd feel guilty and I'd get back on board, rinse and repeat. Then last year, when I am as close to God as I've ever been, I feel driven into these experiences. So 3 experiences happened for me last year. One, this guy is an old faithful. Our chemistry and our love is just very easy, but he doesn't want anything, so he's a no. The next one, honesty, is and that is phenomenal, but no connection. And that is the one that produces a lot of questions for me, by the way. And then the third experience, this guy was no traditional, but easy friendship and camaraderie. And he's an intellectual equal. And what did I discover from all of those things? That is the easy way to intimacy and connection, but that it's not the truth. That I would have chosen guy number 3 because what I really desired was connection, friendship, to be seen, valued, loved, respected, to feel safe and protected inside of a man's energy. And so I felt really, really seen by God in all of this, by the way. What I learned is we don't just put on that rule and say no premarital. What we do is that if we delay, guess what we get? We get to build a relationship around our own values. So I'm going to talk about the woman's perspective. For me, I get to see whether I like him as a person. I get to see whether he can love me correctly. I get to see how he presents himself out in the world. I get to exist in his essence and see whether I feel safe and protected, adored and valued. I get to see him. And so I get the connection part, and then the just the result of that. What I learned is that God's way is really about building partnership. It is about a kingdom marriage. It is about something that's honest and true. The next verse number 16 says, "And I will pray the Father, and he will give you another helper, that he may abide with you forever, the Spirit of truth, whom the world cannot receive, because it neither sees him nor knows him. But you know him, for he dwells with you and will be in you." And so what I learned is that if we delay the rules that we think we should be doing, and instead like earnestly search for the Father, that when he brings you to his commandments and his ways, he's doing it because he's repaired the belief system attached to your particular sin. And what I learned is that inside of sin is always connected to a limiting belief, a self-limiting belief. It is something that we believe about ourselves that we need to hand over to God and let him repair it for us. And so when we come to God's way, when we have searched for a relationship, and that relationship with God brings us to his rules and his commandments and his ways, that he's done it by repairing the heart of the matter. Jesus came and he said that I've come that they may have life and have it to the full. And what he's saying is that I came so that God could do the repair work inside of you, so that when you come to my laws and my ways, you're doing it because I've repaired the thing about you, and you no longer believe that thing about you. And now you come to my biblical standards. You embody that. That is, you come to that standard because that standard is now you.